Scaling from 2 to 5 million in 1 year sounds like a big move. But sometimes it's not about what you add, it's about understanding your role as the founder. So let me show you how one of my clients did exactly that. By this point, I've looked under the hood of dozens and dozens of businesses. And let me tell you that more often than not, the real bottleneck of the business is the founder. More specifically, the way the founder operates. Because most founders are still stuck in the middle of everything. So they may start their days with well-planned to-do list where they want to focus on the one thing that will definitely move the needle. But unfortunately, that one thing gets often moved further and further down the to-do list because of all of the fires they need to put out. They need to step in, help their team, answer questions, and this thing they want to do to grow their business gets pushed on indefinitely. The way I see it, every founder goes through 3 stages of evolution. The stage number 1 is what I call a solopreneur. Maybe you have VAs, but if you are only hiring extra hands and there is still only one brain in your business, in my view, you are a solopreneur. Because if you stop working, your business falls apart immediately. The second stage is when you manage to delegate all of the maintenance tasks. This means that if you stop working, even for a month, the business is maintained, the business is still running. And stage number 3, the best one, is when you actually manage to delegate growth as well. This means that when you step away from the business keeps growing. And the only way to evolve and go through these stages is to reboot your mindset and start thinking as the owner rather than just the operator. And the difference here is essential because the owner asks himself, how can I solve this task in a way that I'll never have to do it again? Because you see, the owner is a systems thinker. And what this means is he thinks about everything in terms of input that goes into some predefined process and results in a specific output. And the idea behind this is that everything he's doing, he's thinking about it as building the machine. He's not there to push the buttons. He's there to design the machine. And that is the key difference. Because the operator, he often asks himself, how can I do more? How can I spend a little bit more time working today so hopefully I get time to do the one thing that will grow the business? While the owner thinks how he can get out of doing these things completely by designing a machine that does it for him. You see, the owner wants to delegate as much as possible so he can spend majority of his time focusing on the high leverage activities that bring the most value to his business. And I call these the zone of genius. These are the energizing, high value strategic activities that only you can do. And the truth is that you cannot operate in your zone of genius if you are running your business as an operator. So there are a few principles, I call them the owner's principles, I would like you to keep in mind. The first one is the one-touch rule. The one-touch rule states that you want to handle every task that's outside your zone of genius in a way that you only have to do it once. It sounds quite drastic, right? But it gets you in the right mindset that everything you do that's outside your zone of genius, think about how you can do it only once, so you'll never have to do it again. Should you delegate it? Should you automate it? Should you drop it completely? It really puts you in the right mindset. The second rule is that you should become the 10-80-10 guy in your business. This means that anything that happens in your business and they need your input, let's say your team really needs to hear your thoughts, needs to hear your strategy, think about the 10-80-10 rule. The first 10%, that is the strategy, that is the action, right? That is the key decision to pursue this project. That can be you. That's perfectly fine. Then the 80% is executed by your team without you touching anything. And the last 10%, again, is the review and iterations with you. So you're essentially stepping out of the execution and leaving that up to your team. And the last principle I want you to keep in mind is that when it comes to delegation, good enough is awesome. This means that we need to let go of our perfectionism. We need to stop stepping in. We need to delegate and learn how to let go. Because the way I see it is that not all work in business is created equal. We have something what I call the value ladder, and this essentially represents the tasks that need to be done in our business and categorizes them based on value they bring to the business. So let's say at the bottom we have the $10 hour tasks. If we go further, we may have 100. If we go even further, we can have 1,000, all the way to $10,000 per hour tasks. And the idea is that our zone of genius is likely somewhere at the top. This means that we need to climb the ladder, and we cannot keep coming back to make sure everything is done perfect. So sometimes, especially when it comes to the bottom of the value ladder, the good enough is awesome, right? If someone can do it good enough, we can let them do it, step aside, and let go of our perfectionism. This means leaving all of the admin tasks, leaving all of the supply, leaving all of the operations up to your team so you can focus on products, on branding and strategy. And lastly, once we understand our zone of genius, we want to engineer our schedule around it and make sure that we protect it, right? So if we take a look at our weekly schedule, we want to make sure that these sessions where we focus on our zone of genius uninterrupted are very well protected. Because if we don't do that, if we don't block out this time, pause Slack notifications, emails, this stuff, the $10 tasks, the $100 tasks will keep creeping into our schedule. So we will keep pushing the important stuff down along our to-do list and we will never get a chance to do it. That is why the whole schedule needs to be engineered around the zone of genius, about the high value activities. I often talk about splitting your schedule into two sections, right? The one section where we create value is called the maker. That is our deep work, that is our zone of genius work. And then we have the manager. And this is where we interact with our team. This is where we answer their questions. But the idea is that these shouldn't overlap. We should be very clear about what we are doing right now so we can become more efficient. And this actually goes for our team as well. Like if everyone on the team sticks to the schedule, we know that the first, let's say 4 hours of the day are there to do the productive work, the high leverage work. And then in the afternoon, we can have meetings, we can coordinate, we can answer questions. But if everyone follows the schedule, it's easier for people to be productive and not waste their time by juggling multiple tasks. So what does this look like in practice? How was someone able to go from 2 million in revenue in 1 year all the way to 5 million without really changing anything, without really hiring someone new or without really changing the business model or launching new brand? Well, first of all, stepping into stage 2 of the founder's evolution, which means fully delegating the maintenance. This person already had team on board, but he never was able to let go. He was still stepping in. He was still, getting in their way and never really designed the systems to allow them to operate independently, right? So getting out of this one brain business and really trusting his team to handle the maintenance of the business. So step number 1, designing the systems and getting out of the way. And step number 2 was understanding his zone of genius, understanding where he could add the most value to his business, something that no one else on his business could do. And for him, it was product development, just simply launching new product variations and bringing new products to market, since he finally got a chance to do that, right? He already had all of these things on his to-do list, well, for months or even years, but he never got a chance to do it. But thanks to step 1, he now had the ability to do so and also focus on rebranding project, right? When they updated all of their listings, optimized conversions and click-through rates. And lastly, what he did is that he set boundaries around his time. Boundaries in a sense that he really protected his deep work sessions so he could fully focus on this and commit 3-4 hours every single day without getting interrupted. I know it may sound simple, but the truth is that it usually is quite simple, right? It is not rocket science. Most businesses are not growing because they are not doing anything that could grow their business. Because the founders and the team is stuck in chaos and in the day-to-day maintenance of the business, rather than doing something that could move the needle. And I'm pretty sure as well that you also have a list of things that you just know would grow your business, but you simply don't have time to do that. Well, and that's it for today. If you need my help systemizing your business and building the right team, you will find the link in the description. I will see you next week. Bye.